What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. I'm joined by Lou and T here. Patrick could be joining us in about a few minutes' time. As you can see from the title, Oliver Glasner, new contract talks are about to begin. We're going to go into the detail of the article as well as some transfer news. And make sure to get involved throughout the show by dropping a like and subscribing and letting us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's see if we can hit over 150 likes once again on this video with everyone watching replay. And also questions. I know a lot of you have already sent in your questions. It's good. We're getting to the rhythm of it. We'll answer them towards the end of the show. And we have saved those. But if you have any questions throughout the show, put a Q and a dot before it and we'll answer it at the end. Lou, how you doing, man? Did you just hear me? Lou, I asked you, how are you doing? I'm not going to ask him again. Anyways, T, how you doing?
Ask him again.
Sorry, man. The connection started going mad.
It look like you in the closet, man. Can you?
Yeah, you're
What are you trying to say, T? What do you mean by that?
I'm saying the reception might not be great if you in the closet. That's all I'm saying.
I asked him twice how it was,
Why.
but he didn't answer.
No.
But, can you hear me now? Anyway, I'm not going to go back to him. T, how are you, man? I'm not going to go back. I'm going to lose it.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Now it's working again.
Okay.
Bro, you're like 5 minutes behind the whole stream. You're 5 minutes behind. I asked you that question like 5 minutes ago.
What did you ask me?
I asked you how you was. We're about halfway through the stream. You still haven't answered.
I'm good because the OG is staying.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into it. We are going to get into it.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Let's
Exactly. Nothing is confirmed as of yet. But Palace 1439 saying best news in a while. Rex is saying the same thing. Henry, I think everyone is. Sorry, Twisted just got me distracted with that comment. Everyone is saying the right thing. Like, we want to keep Glasner at the football club, and this is big news. This is big news because we've been doing Palace news, and yesterday we went deep dive talking about Nketiah, which is still relevant to this day. If you want to watch it, and if you haven't watched it, make sure to check out after this. We'll look at the stats or so. But today we've actually got some proper news that we've all been wanting for, and I've been talking about, and now the time has come. According to Fabrizio Romano and Ed Aarons, is that Oliver Glasner's contract talks at Crystal Palace are about to begin, with Glasner contract running out at the end of next summer. Discussions are underway between the club and the manager about future plans and budget for the summer and more. Ed Aarons has added on a few other stuff. An interesting point, by the way. This is the following from Ed Aarons, not Fabrizio Romano. He said that there is a 12-month extension option, but the co-chairman, Steve Parish, is understood to be keen to tie him down to a 2-year contract. Let's quickly land there before we go into further news. That's interesting, T. The fact that he's got an extension, a potential extension for another year, despite his contract running out next summer. But Palace do want to, of course, sign him onto a new deal. But that gives me a sign of relief because, of course, we know that he hasn't got long left in his contract. But if we have an option to extend it by another year, that's good. But before we continue, because there's a bit more to the news, your general thoughts about this, because I think everyone... And I guess I can predict this. I guess you're happy because we've been waiting for this because of how good it's been for us since he's joined.
Absolutely. First of all, good on Palace on having that extension. You know what I mean? Because I think the one thing that an extension helps us with is if they're having some contract negotiation issues, maybe they can't come to terms on certain things, you have the assurance of activating that extension to where it gives you more time to have a negotiating window with him. So that's huge. But it kind of goes back to what we were talking about yesterday, what I was saying yesterday. Glasner is the foundation. You have to make sure your foundation is solidified in order for the rest of your project to work. So great that we're working on it right now, being proactive and getting the conversation and hopefully the end result of a contract done so that we can build up from there. You know, like is being reported, I'm sure a big part of that conversation is discussing what the transfer windows are going to look like moving forward, what the funds for those windows are going to look like, and the overall philosophy. Where are we looking to go with this? What are our goals short term? What are our long term goals with this? So I think it's great that it's being discussed right now rather than in the midst of maybe the summer window where now we're worried about if our manager is going to sign an extension, while we're also wondering if we're going to be bringing in players. So I think it's great that we're being proactive and getting it done right now as compared to later on.
Exactly, and that extension option is very good, man. It is very good.
Yeah, for sure.
He just gives you that relief because, of course, we know that his contract is going to run out by the end of next summer. Yeah, by the end of next summer. But of course, we can extend it. But Palace don't want to go to that point, anyways. I think he deserves a new contract on better terms. And the most important thing about this, T, is that it's not just new contract talks. It's the fact that discussions are underway, and I'm pretty sure Glasner would want certainty with reinvestment into the squad. But from what Fabrizio Romano has said and Ed Aarons in his report is that both of them have mentioned about the summer plans, and that Steve Parish wants to reassure that we will be investing back into the squad. I think that's the key as well, because we've been talking about it. We spoke about last summer window, this January window as well, about having reassurances and making sure Glasner is back to the extent. And it seems like right now, not only are we talking about new deal, it's like, why do we want you to stay? These are our plans. And if he has that back in, I think he will sign a new deal. I don't know why he wouldn't, because I think he's enjoying life at Palace right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's important to and similar to what Chris is saying in there, we extended Dougie last summer, and then getting OG extended now. You got those key components to the product that we're now seeing on the pitch and in the squad. Having those two pieces, in place long term, it only helps, for the future for us.
Yeah, I'm very happy by this. We're joined by Patrick as well. Patrick, your thoughts on the reports that's come out today from both Ed Aarons and Fabrizio Romano about Palace now sitting down to offer Glasner a contract extension, as well as talking about summer plans?
Great news. I mean, you can ask for anything else. I remember mentioning it during one of the shows, whether it was post-match reaction or whatever, that wouldn't be great if we could offer Glasner, Gahey, and Mateta contracts over the break. And some of you laughed at me. The guy in the top right definitely laughed at me about that. I remember that. So, but no, it's great news. Great news. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. I just hope that it gets done, and then move on to some of the players. But no, I think it's a fantastic news, and hopefully it gets done.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-year extension. I think that makes sense, right? If he does sign it, because nowadays you don't really see that many managers having like 5-year deals.
Yeah.
As long as there's an option, like there is an option in this one which we didn't know about, it could be extended potentially to 3 years, and that's a good amount of window for both Glasner and Palace to prove that they're both serious about this business. Because I think Palace have got a point to prove to Glasner, because we kind of know what Glasner can do, but we have to make sure that he's comfortable at the football club. He knows that he'll be getting back, and I think that's the most important thing. So another extension for that period of time, I think that's good enough window for Palace to prove about their objectives, about pushing on.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, for me, I mean, and people are worried about him leaving. I know that in the article they mentioned Red Bull Leipzig. The truth of the matter is, if a better job comes, he's going to leave. But what we need to do is, yes, sign the new contract, but we have to have him buy into Crystal Palace. I think he is. Buy into not only the club with the players, but also the fans, the academy, everything. And I think slowly but surely you can see it happening. One, he's producing on the pitch for us, obviously quarterfinals of 2 major competitions. 11th, 12th in the league, 10th last season. So he's buying into it on the field. You're right, D. We got to back him more, and I think that will come. We backed him somewhat this year, but we can back him more. But I think if we continue to show, obviously the stadium's a big thing, also the stadium, but we can keep showing him what we want to progress, he'll stay. And if a better opportunity comes on, he'll leave. But I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about today, and today it's great news. Hopefully he signs.
And that's the biggest thing about the news, because I think we are genuinely trying to do that, and that's the reason why we're sitting down and talking about future plans. And I think Glasner has been watching a few under-21 games at the training ground as well. So he's been involved with the academy. And I think the fans have kind of bought into Glasner. even at Selhurst, I mean, there's Glasner Chance, Glasner's Red and Blue Army, and the Wembley one as well. So he's, the fan base is definitely behind him, and I think the board know that as well. And I think that's the reason why now is like the perfect time. It is the perfect time. We've got 3 weeks off. We're in camp in Marbella, so it's the perfect time. When you're on a holiday, that's the best of your moods. You got time to reflect and think. And clearly, Parish wouldn't do this if he didn't truly believe in Glasner. You could go and extend it to the summer and then go from there. But I think everyone at the club, and the way that Glasner speaks about Doug Friedman, I see Parish as well, T, I think that's a positive in that regards, because there's been times where we've wondered, is he happy with the business that Palace offer, that have done? But then whenever those talks have been mentioned, Glasner's been very positive about Dougie Friedman. So that's the biggest thing about this as well. It seems like right now, despite them talking and, trying to figure out a deal, I think they are all aligned together. I think there's been signs of that based on what Glasner said about certain members of the football club.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of alludes to, I think, one of the questions that we saw in the chat, but asking about, the chances of him sticking around and him wanting to be somewhere long term. I mean, when we saw what happened with him at Eintracht Frankfurt, that fallout was immediately due to strained relationship with himself and the front office, which fortunately for us is not the situation at Crystal Palace. And, being that he has a good relationship with Steve Parish, that he has a good relationship with Dougie Friedman, Dougie's going to be here long term. He signed on long term. We have a lot of things in place, things like you mentioned with the academy and having a really good talent pool of young players. We have a lot of things in place that are literally, you could go down the list. If I'm Parish and I'm just checking off things, here's what we have. Here's what we've done for you. Here's what we continue to do for you. We talk about backing your manager and making sure that, we're bringing in the players that he wants. We've done that. I think you can really check that box off. They can say, hey, the players that you've wanted, we not only have been proactive in trying to go get, but we've brought in ones that you have concretely said that you want. So I guess that's a vote of confidence for him in understanding, hey, I know that they're going to listen to me, they're going to work with me, and they're going to work for me as far as, doing the things that I want them to do. So I feel like we're in a good situation when it comes to sitting down at the negotiation table with OG.
Lou, I know you're going to be happy about the news, so there's no point in me asking about that. But I want to go into what is the ceiling with Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace, because you've been very high of certain players. For example, Adam Wharton, you're saying he's going to the very top. What do you think Palace could achieve with Glasner?
With the right backing, and I think recruitment's always key. I think recruitment's probably sometimes more important than a manager, because managers come and go. The recruitment's the thing that keeps a team and a club afloat, especially in the Premier League. If he's working well with Dougie and we get the recruitment right, if we sell one player, one of our big players a season and not two, and we invest it properly, then listen, we can break top six, I think, personally, with this manager, 100%.
Patrick, do you think that is achievable?
I think that takes time, top six, because you got to understand that clubs like Tottenham and United, they're going to bounce back. The top six is a very tough thing to break. So I would say, me is top 8.
I was saying top ceiling. I was saying our ceiling is probably top 6. Yeah. Our ceiling is top 6. Not that we'll get there. But
I got it.
Our ceiling. If Glasner had his way with a 3-year project and whatnot, and we invested correctly, I'd say top 6 is the ceiling. But I'd say probably top 8 is the reality.
Right.
And a cup win. And a cup win.
I'm going to say, top 8 in cups every season is something that you would just dream of as a supporter. But real quick, I was thinking about it just now. When was the last time we offered a manager? Forget Hodgson, by the way. I'm sure you know. We've offered a manager a new contract at Palace. Was it Pardew?
Yeah, Pardew.
Right.
Did he even get a new deal, or did he sign a 3-year initial?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember if he signed one.
He got a new deal. No, did he get a new deal?
Can't remember.
I remember he should have been sacked earlier.
Yeah. I'm just right. I get that part. Yeah.
I don't know if he actually got a new deal during that bad run of games. But yeah, I think it's a good point. So
Do you guys think, you know that little bad run that we had at the start, and there was so much media? Obviously, like us as a fan base, we didn't want him to go anywhere. But do you think that outside pressure and the fact that people were saying, "Oh, he can't do this," and Palace stood by him, do you think that's helped in that will help in like getting him to stay longer, or do you think he doesn't even listen to that sort of noise?
I think it's actually helped Glasner in a way, that bad spell, because it's kind of proven that despite the bad spell, he can get out of those kinds of spells. And that's very important for a club like Palace, because at the time there were, of course, different journalists saying that he's under pressure, but he managed to get out of it. And whatever he kind of said has come out true. In terms of, Glasner was talking about bringing in players late, players not having pre-season. And then we've kind of seen it as the season's gone on. We've built more chemistry and everything's kind of worked out in the way that Glasner's kind of predicted. And that's the reason why he needed time. And for that reason, I think Palace and at board level probably looking at the situation saying, look, we're not going to win every game. We're going to have spells where we might have injuries. We're going to have spells where things are not going our way. But do we have faith in this manager to make sure that he can bring us out of the mud? Because that's where, in a way, I'll be honest, that's where Vieira lacked. Because when we went in the mud, now we could say he might stayed on and beat Leicester or so because it was a hard run of fixtures, but we didn't get out of it for months and it just didn't quite kind of work out and everything went downwards. But clearly, not only, remember, Parrish has said this before as well, it's not just what he thinks. I think because he's at the training ground, he speaks to the players, he's getting the mood around the club. There's a reason why Vieira went, and there's a reason why even now, even at that time, Oliver Glasner stayed at the football club and now is getting offered a new contract extension. I feel like they genuinely believe and they have faith in this manager. That's the biggest thing because they didn't get rid of him when things were getting bad. And by the way, it was kind of bad at the start of the season. Like, I don't think we were going to get relegated, but we didn't win a game for God knows how many weeks. Game week 9, which is kind of crazy.
But D, let's be honest, because he understood and I understood what happened. We talked about it, during that time. The players come back late, selling of the players at the last day before the window with Anderson and Ayew, etc. And the fact that we talked about every way he goes, he always starts off slow beginning of the season, just way it works. I don't really think he was ever under pressure. I know that there was a stream that we did and other people talked about it. But let's be honest, he really wasn't ever really. I mean, you kind of know when a manager's going to go. There was never that fear for me. And me personally, they was ever going to go. But I understand that people, because that's the way Palace fans think. They get really negative at the first chance they can. But there was really no chance. I don't think. Had he not got out of it, of course he would have gone. But I never thought that he wouldn't turn that around and we wouldn't stay up. So, I mean, that's just me personally.
Yeah, well, there were talks anyways around that time.
There were.
Exactly. So there was a reason for that. And then look, here we are talking about FA Cup quarter-final, 1 win away from Wembley, and also talking about can we finish top half and even push for European spots, despite us not winning 9 games. But the biggest thing that we have to do is not just a contract extension. For us to make sure we get the best out of Glasner, we have to make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes. And for me, T, I don't know about you, but the biggest mistake that we kind of done as a football club was we started a window very good, not very good, but good in the aspects of we brought in Kamada and Riyadh early, which we never really bring in players late June, early July. But then we stopped. We went back to Old Palace, and then afterwards we've seen it this season with players. Of course, they went to Euros, they came back late, Mateta, Olympics, and then new signings also coming in late. It can cost you points. Like if we maybe done our business a bit earlier and these players were settled in and had pre-season, maybe right now we are higher. We have got more points, and maybe there is like a serious contention of wait, this is maybe Palace's spot to lose in terms of European spots because 9 games is a lot of points, a lot of points that we missed out on. But we need to make sure, and I think we will do. We need to make sure we don't repeat these same mistakes because Glasner staying is all good. I have faith in him as a manager, but we need to do our part as a football club as well, which I felt like last summer, especially, we kind of let him down in that regards.
I think given these new contract talks, good timing as well, international break, and it's like a proper big push.
Yep.
But it's even more morale to the team.
Yep.
Players knowing that the manager's here, stability, more togetherness, and I think the fact that we can win a cup and there's still a slight chance of Europe going into the other half of the international break is mad. Because after them 9 games, I don't think anyone envisioned.
We haven't got time to sit down till the summer. After the
go.
international break, we haven't got time to really sit down till the summer because it's like
that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's a good time for this news to break out. Like it's just another morale boosting bit of news.
I'm just glad I said it. I'm just glad I said it was going to happen during the break. It's happening. So I'm going to say. I'm just glad I said it early.
Yeah, I woke up to that news. I said
a week ago, but no one listened to it. I said it over the weekend. No one listened.
We need him to sign it before he wins the cup, and then the vultures start swirling before he's signed on the dotted line.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Look, Parish is a smart man, so even the contract extension, which we didn't know about, there will be other clauses as well, and maybe Glasner might want a release clause. Because I think Marcus Silva's got one.
100%.
So maybe we have to find an agreement there,
or a gentleman's agreement type thing.
Release clause. Let's make it.
It depends because we've seen it with Elise, for example. When Steve Parish sat at the table with Elise, he managed to convince him to stay for another season. And whether that's a gentleman's agreement, I think it was kind of a mixture of both. Both, like, if a top club comes for you, we're going to let you go. But also, Elise was like, I'm going to repay that faith by signing a bit more money, £45 million, £50 million release clause rather than £35 million. So I think Parish has kind of shown in negotiations in regards to with the Elise deal that he can get the best both for Glasner and for us, because we have to be fair. Glasner is, we all can agree right now, like his ceiling is much higher than Crystal Palace. So we have to make sure that in this new contract, there's going to be an opportunity for him to progress if he wants to, and for Palace. But for us, the best case scenario is that all the top clubs do well, in a way. But so no one goes after him. All the Bayerns and whoever's like PSGs, they do well, and they don't need to get rid of the manager, because we've seen it even in the summer with Company Glasner knocking on the door for Bayern Munich.
Bayern's safe now. They're through to the next round. Then that's not a job reopen. He'll get that another year Company for sure. I don't see that. PSG also.
They absolutely thrashed Leverkusen.
Yeah, both of those. The Red Bull Leipzig is an interesting one, but he's managed Germany twice already for clubs equally, kind of in the RB Leipzig, realm with Wolfsburg, and I don't think that's a good.
You don't think RB Leipzig is good?
No, I didn't say that. I just think he's kind of been at that level in Bundesliga already. To me, it's either go to the top team, which is Bayern, or go to France with PSG or Italy somewhere. Again, he could go anywhere because he's that kind of manager. I just think that's not going to be as. Again, but who knows behind the scenes? Who knows? But like I said, I don't think that's a really. I think again we can keep him for another couple of years, and after that, the world is oyster. Basically, he can go anywhere he wants. Anyway.
Yeah, especially if he proves himself in the Premier League.
In the Premier League, exactly, 100%. Yeah,
and he's doing a very good job at that right now. There are more stuff to the article which I'm going to read out now, and this is more related to transfer news. This is coming from Ed Aarons' piece of work, and he said the following: that Captain Mark Gahey is expected to be sold in the summer as he enters the final year of his contract. Palace have rejected a bid worth up to £70 million, and also a late offer from Tottenham Hotspur. It seems like Gahey will be leaving, but that's no major surprise. Thoughts?
I mean, in a lot of ways, it is what we expect it to be. Yeah, it's not a big surprise. I mean, I think it is what we expected to be the situation with Mark Gahey after we decided to keep him last summer. So I can't say I'm surprised by that at all, to be honest with you.
How much do you think we can get for him, Patrick?
Don't know. I don't love the news, but again, last year or this season, I said I'd rather sell Anderson than Gahey. We did that. We're going to sell a major asset every season. I get it. It'll probably be Gahey this summer, Wharton next season. So, and we can replace him. How much, D? It was 70 during the summer. I'm saying probably 60 because there's much left on his contract. Probably it's more likely like 50, but anyway, 50 and above is a really good deal for him. So I'm not worried. He's a great player. He'll go on to much bigger than Palace. So good for him.
Let's see where we finish, because we were talking about that, whether that could sway his decision making if we had a good finish to the season. But I think realistically, as Palace fans, we've been kind of prepared for Gahey to leave this summer. It wasn't last summer, but throughout the season, that's pretty much been the case. And I think the club have been working on that. But anywhere for me, around 40 to 50 million pounds with a year left on his deal is a realistic price tag. And hopefully there is like a bidding war. That would be nice. Maybe clubs might think, oh, this is an opportunity. We might be able to get
There will be.
And also, you know, he's a regular England starter.
Exactly. There'll be a bidding war. You got Newcastle, probably not again, but Spurs definitely, United possibly, Liverpool possibly, and then as Louis always says, Europe beckons, man. I can't see why he wouldn't go. He can play in the Bundesliga. He can play in Serie A. He can play in Spain. He can play anywhere he wants. So I can see one of those teams coming in. He'll fit in at Barcelona. He can play at Real Madrid. I mean, the guy can play anywhere. So like I said, a bidding war is going to happen, and if it doesn't happen, maybe we don't sell him because we got to get. You said 40. We got to get 50 at least, man. At least 50 for that guy.
That would be what I would think
minimum
of.
for me.
Yeah.
It's just a year left on his deal, so it really depends on who is after him.
Right. This statement doesn't make sense to me because how we ever become a big club if we sell our top players? Dude, he's going into his last year. How will we ever become a big club if we let our best players walk out the door for free?
There you go. There's the other side.
You have
it's
to.
Not like we don't want to sign him.
If you want it's not like we don't want to sell him.
Exactly.
If he doesn't want to sign a new deal,
want to sign, you got no choice.
We have to get the money for him. So
and he
how
hasn't
are we
pushed
going to
for a move.
A big club if we don't get money?
Right. He hasn't pushed for a move. Like he hasn't said, "Okay, I want to leave." He's been actually very, very professional. He could have easily said, "I want to go to Newcastle last year," and in fact, he didn't. Shocks me. So Mark Gahey has been absolutely brilliant this whole process.
He's been the professional that we all expected him to be.
100%. I agree. Yeah. So. Yeah. We'll sell one asset again. The way we are as a club, we're going to have to sell. Well, buy, develop, sell one player every single summer, and I'm good with that. As long as it's not 2 or 3, one a summer is fine because that way you replenish. You sell one, you buy 2, 3. You
want it to be exponential.
Exactly. Right.
Exponential.
So
and that's why clubs like Dortmund have gotten to where they've gotten. That's why RB Leipzig is where they are. They're now a consistent competing European club. They sell one guy every year for a high amount, and that allows them to have. First of all, they have unbelievable scouting and recruiting.
Right.
They then go out. They find really, really good young guys that they can then, like you said, develop into better players later on down the road, and you sell them, and that's how it works. It's not necessarily that you're a selling club; you're just a developing club.
Let's look at it. We got a great deal for John Stone, Anderson. I'm not going to include those guys being so weak because they were, we made a lot of money on those guys. That's great. The main one was obviously Olise, but we brought in Riyadh and Esse. So my point is, we can do that every season, bringing a 21, 19-year-old player in position that we need, and then develop them and sell them on. And then next year, if you sell Gahey, you bring in, let's say, a left wing back and a central midfielder, or a left-sided number 10. Remember, a right-footed number 10, and because Eze might be, you know what I mean. So for me, if you, as long as you don't sell 2 or 3, I don't consider this last window was a aberration because Anderson had to go for me. Johnson was a free, pure profit. And Ayew again was a great deal for us because of 1, how much we paid for him, and 2, we were going to replace him with Kamada and Saw. So it wasn't like, So again, Olise was the biggest one. We could have got more money, but we couldn't because of the release clause. So for me, if we sell one player, like I said, and get 2 or 3 younger players, I have no problem with that model. We can't go any other way. And then hopefully the big thing is get an academy or 2 every single season into the squad. Saveni, Kapora, next year, who knows, Adam Arola or Danny Imre, whoever it is, or David Ozo. If we do that, man, it's a great model for Palace. It's perfect for us. It just is.
The thing that makes me think is, like, we sold Olise for the price that we sold him for. You don't get Maxence Lacroix without selling Olise. You don't get Romain Esse without making a move like that.
Hey, there you go.
1 second, like you said, exponential. Yes, we lost Michael Olise, but we brought multiple other players in that are immediately impacting and making a difference for us. And if that's the case, then I'm okay with that model.
It's about improving the squad.
Because overall, because if the thing about it is, if I have I don't know, if I have one single item and somebody wants to purchase it for X amount of dollars, and I let that one single item go, but then I can then turn around and buy 3, 4, 5 of those same things that can then give me the same outcome that I just had. Like that's easy math. You know what I'm saying?
You do that now with your cars, man. Come on, that's you now with your cars. Come on, talk to us, man. You know you do.
Look at Brighton and how much money they spend.
You know?
They spend crazy amounts, and the reason why they spend crazy amounts is because they've literally sold so many
$100 million players,
and then eventually now it's crazy. I know hopefully they don't achieve anything because we've got a better manager. But if Oliver Glasner had that kind of money and that kind of squad, because when you're looking at in the summer, they're having like 2 left backs, 2 right backs. They've got how many midfielders, and they've got like quality depth. You can improve the whole squad. Hence why you can improve the club. Like you can sell Gahey for 40, 50 million pounds, sign his replacement, and we know that we need another centre back. With that, we might be able to sign another centre back. So sign 2 centre backs, so it makes you better as a squad. So that when one player goes down injured, you already know that you have another player of quality to step up. So eventually, like you build a club like that. It's like a game, essentially. Like you sell one for 50 million pounds, you get 2, and then hopefully those 2 develop and turn into quality players, and then you can sell them and you can get 3 or 4 with that money. And Walton is the big banker for us. I'm telling you now, Walton's going to change this football club.
But the key also is that you have to add. The academy has to chip in. You cannot just do it from selling and buying. I mean, in Brighton, your Hinchwood would come from the academy. Some of the key players do come from the academy. You have to have that. If you don't have that, it doesn't really work. It's much harder to do. But if you can get the academy to chip in a player or 2 a season, you are golden. And we're almost there. I mean, our U18s are top of the league, and there's some good players, and our best player probably going to leave, but it is what it is. And the 21s are 6 in the league and got some good players in there too. So we're almost there. And we got the manager, for me, going back to why this whole stream was done, was we got the perfect manager for the system we were trying to do. So I'm very, very happy right now. As far as
those pure profit sales that you're talking about, massive. P, like those go a long, long way. And when you're talking about the development of players and what it means, like, when we have one of those sales, when one of those sales happens, you know what that does just to other kids that see it, that are playing in South London. They're like, man, I can go to Crystal Palace, I can come through the ranks, and I can be the next big thing.
And that's just to go back to the last point again, Elise leaving was terrible. But man, imagine you're telling a player coming from championship saying, if you come to Palace, we'll develop you. You don't become international for whatever country. You're going to end up playing for a top country, team in Europe. Look at Elise is perfect for us. Him doing well at Bayern is great for us, because Romanese is saying, yeah, I'll go to Palace, and the next Romanese is saying, I'll come to Palace. You know what I mean? So it works for us. It stinks to lose that player, and that kid is a good player, but what he's doing outside of Palace is only going to help us as far as people saying, yeah, I want to go to Palace because I could be the next Michael Elise.
I'll tell you what, Romain Esse's getting to experience Marbella, Spain right now. He wasn't gonna get that at Millwall.
Yeah, it would be in South London. He'll be in at Nottingham.
Nah, today they got Leeds today. Leeds away today. Big match for big match.
I saw 300 tickets.
Exactly.
300 tickets. I mean, that was funny when I saw that on the way. There is more reports. There's further information from Ed Aarons. I'll read that out as well. And this is more of a positive note than the Mark Gay one, is that there's also likely to be interest in Jean-Philippe Mateta and Adam Wharton in the summer window. However, Palace are unlikely to consider selling either should Gay depart. So it seems like we already got a plan. If Gay leaves, then we're not selling Mateta and Wharton. And I think that's the biggest thing about it, When people say Palace are selling club, we've kind of never been a selling club. Like the Zaha situation said everything, but we might have to sell in order to buy. But we're not like I don't even know how to describe it. We're not going to sell. If someone offers £100 million to Wharton, maybe we might do. But I don't see Palace selling Wharton, Gahey as a Mateta all in one window. We've got a plan because like that, you're not realistically going to push on. It's very hard to push on if you sell everyone. So that's the biggest thing about it. Like we got a plan. It seems like if we sell Gahey, Wharton, and Mateta, who are linked to other clubs, will be staying, and they will be staying because they're under contract. Like it's up to us. They don't have no release clause. So that's the biggest thing about it. Like it's not like we're going into, we want cash, because it's nice to have money, but you also need to have the quality of players there as well. You sell Gahey, if you still keep Wharton and Mateta there, and you reinvest that money, then you can sign, 2 centre backs, for example. That could improve the squad overall to get you more results. But if you sold all of your talented players, then it's just like, cool, you will be a very rich club, but you're starting all over again, and it's just very risky, and you don't know how long it will take. So yeah, we've got a plan, and that's the biggest thing about it, T. And it's a positive, because Mateta and Walton have been linked with a move away from the club, but if Gahey was to leave, which is more than likely, they'll be staying.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, you can't sell them all because you can't scout the club. You got to have a plan, and it seems like we have one, which is a good thing, which is something that we as a fan base can get behind, which is something that Oliver Glasner can get behind, and would be a reason why he would want to extend his contract with us. A manager of that caliber doesn't extend his contract with the club if he doesn't feel comfortable in what we have going forward, what the plan is, what we want to do. You know what I mean? So obviously, where we sit right now with what we're doing, what we're looking to do, and the conversations that we're having, this club is in the best position it's ever been in the Premier League. Let's be quite honest. Well, the things that we're talking about on this show right now, from even when I started on the show 3-4 years ago, leaps and bounds from where we were. So
yeah, we've learned a lot during that period as well, because remember, we were signing experienced players but on high contracts, on stupid long-term deals, and that is the reason why we needed a whole rebuild. And that's the thing that we've learned from our lessons whilst being in the Premier League, and thankfully it hasn't cost us relegation. And now here we are, we're like, we've tested it all. We've tested the Hodgsons, we've tested like a Vieira and different kinds of managers, but now we're kind of happy. We've got Glasner here. If Glasner's happy with what we're trying to do in terms of sell one player and try to improve the squad overall, then that's the biggest thing. And who's the best man right now to lead us? Oliver Glasner. So it is exciting times to be a Palace fan, just like Harry's put in the chat. But of course, these are all talks. Like, nothing has been confirmed yet. He hasn't signed a new deal. He's still at a football club. So it's nice. I mean, it all sounds good, but we have to make sure we deliver. We deliver in the summer. We deliver with the new contract. Like, it's up to us as a football club to make sure we deliver. And that's going to be the hardest part, because talk is easy, man. And the action is what really matters. So yeah, we'll see what happens in regards to that. If you've just joined us now, and if you're enjoying the stream, please hit the like button, people. We are on over 70 likes, so that's fantastic. Thank you to every single one of you that's done that. We'll go through some comments, and then we'll answer questions. There's been a lot of questions that's coming through. There was a comment that I just wanted to read out from Twisted saying, "I want to win the Prem." Who doesn't want to win the Prem? Arsenal have wanted to win the Prem for the last 20 years or so. It's not as easy as you think it is. Like, these clubs like Liverpool, it took them a while before Klopp. Like, they didn't win a Premier League trophy. They won the First Division one, but Premier League, they didn't win it. Like, it takes a long time. It's not easy. But what I want to do realistically is for Palace to compete for domestic trophies, which this season I would say we're doing regardless of what happens against Fulham. We went in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals and the FA Cup quarterfinals as well. We'll see where our FA Cup journey lands us, and ideally European football. Like, that's the biggest thing. And somehow finding our way through Premier League trophies. Boy, we got a lot to do. Like, first of all, the revenue, improving the stand, and trying to bring in more money, then using that money to reinvest more into the squad, etc. There's a lot of work to do, man. Winning the Premier League is not as easy as you think it is. Look at all the big clubs, the struggle.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Southampton, Ipswich, Wolves, West Ham, Everton, Tottenham, Brentford, Fulham, Bournemouth, Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. You know they all have in common with Palace?
Right.
What's that?
Never won the Premier League.
Yeah, it's very hard.
I mean, bro,
what we need to do, our objective should be as a football club. Of course, there's going to be like.
No, of course. I'm just saying there were bigger clubs than us who never won the Premier. Not the First Division. I'm talking about the Premier League, the new, since whatever. They have never won it. So I mean, listen, I want to win it too, by the way, just to be clear. But I'm not going to worry about. I'm worried about. I'll start with a League Cup or FA Cup this year. I'm gonna build. I'm taking baby steps. I've been a fan for over 50 years. I'm taking baby steps, bro.
Trust
baby steps.
Just give me any domestic trophy.
Trust the process.
Again, I don't want to disrespect. We won the ZDS Cup, but let's be honest. If you're a true fan of football, The ZDS Cup was put together when any Cup were banned from Europe. It was a make believe trophy, and we won it, and that was great. What did it get us? Didn't get us anything. Got us a trophy at Wembley. Didn't even get us a European tour. So let's not go. I mean, I respect the ZDS Cup. Don't get me wrong. I respect it. I got an Ian Wright, Mark Bright, ZDS Cup signed shirt right here. So I respect that trophy. But let's be honest, it's not a League Cup. It's on the FA Cup. When we win one of those two, I will be in heaven, and I'll be good as a Palace fan. Premier League.
Like there's a lot I feel like there's so many Palace fans that have probably been fans for just as long as Patrick. That if you win an FA Cup, if you win a League Cup,
that's it. We're good.
Like there are people that would like die and be happy type of
Put
thing.
your comments in the chat. People have been a fan for since 1970 blank, and tell me what you wouldn't take a League Cup FA Cup right now. Put in the chat right now. I need my long-time buddies in the chat.
Yes,
put
the amount of years that you supported Palace in the chat. Put the amount of years. We want to see how many years you all have been.
And also, we have to make sure the biggest thing that Palace need to do is that even if we had a successful season where, let's say, we finished top 4 or we won the league like Leicester did, you have to make sure it's sustainable. Of course, it's amazing if you win the league, like no one's going to complain. But I think what we're trying to do is be there consistently, not a one-off. I think that's the big thing about
D, I'm sorry. I'll take a one-off FA Cup. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm talking about what Paris is trying to do. I think he's trying to be there consistently, and that's why.
I understand that, but I'll take a one-off. I'll take a one-off.
39 years.
Yeah, 53 years.
53 years.
I haven't even been alive for that long.
That's what I'm
Keith,
talking
man,
about.
respect to you, Keith. Respect.
Keith,
I mean,
big respect
for that.
Man of Guitar, 10 years. Yeah, Man of Guitar. I'm right at 10 myself.
Nice.
Jones, 52 years.
Twisted.
Yeah, respect to you. Of course,
Chris,
but no one beats my guy here. I mean, Twisted, man, you got it, bro. You're
Scott, hey, appreciate all the same, man. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the pain, man.
Animal, 27 years.
Respect for that.
Shane,
45 Respect for that. 45.
It's not easy, but what we need to try and do, we're heading in the right direction. We have to set realistic objectives as well. The club, and I think from the Sports Bank deal, from what was coming out around that time, it's gone a bit quiet now, is that they want to be able to fight for top 6. As I said, talk is easy. You have to build an infrastructure for that. It's not just about players on the field. It's about what you do off the field. And that comes down to the stadium, the training facilities. The training facilities, we've done that. They are good facilities. And I'm telling you now, as someone who's grew up in South London, was born and raised there, who have seen, clubs like Southampton and Fulham back in my school days, go and scout players in South London, which Palace couldn't compete with because they didn't have a Cat 1 academy.
Yeah,
that is going to change now. So we might not see the academy pay off right now, but I'm telling you, in the next 5 to 10 years' time, with the catchment area of South London, that will be paying off, and the academy will be one of the most exciting we'll have. So yeah. I think in the long run it'll be paid off. So, but of course we won't see that right now. It'll take time. We just turned Cat 1. There's going to be players that's coming from youth level that are going to be developed, and yeah, it's massive. The academy is massive. So the stadium is going to be massive as well. Building expansion there, hopefully more corporate facilities and more revenue in that regards than just seats and sponsorship deals. So that should be exciting. We're heading in the right direction. So that's the biggest thing about it. But the academy is the one to look out for, because that could make us a very rich club with the amount of players coming through. But T, read that comment.
Shout out to Barry Tedman. I was 6 when I saw my first Palace game. I'm now 72 years old.
God
Shout
bless
out to
you,
Barry, man.
Wow.
Hey, man,
God
Barry,
bless you,
it's guys your age that don't even know how to use YouTube, man. Shout out to you. For real.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really
32 years, 17 years, 42 years, at least 30. Wow.
Yeah. Look, any trophy would do. I'm telling you now, any trophy would do. Forget about the Premier League.
But you see what it means, though. You see.
Let's see what happens this season, man. I'm not saying we're going to win the FA Cup, but the FA Cup is giving us hope. And those tickets are getting sold, by the way, like instantly. There's barely any left already.
You going, D? You got a ticket yet?
No, I haven't got a ticket. So if anyone wants to give me their loyalty points, DM me on Twitter.
There you go. I want to get it out there. D needs to go. He needs to go.
So basically, you have to have accumulated enough amount of points through purchasing tickets to be able to have a chance to even buy the tickets.
Yeah, it's always like that though. It's like that for every game, but this game is higher because of the fact that it's it's away from home. So yeah, I'll be able to buy it on Friday. That's if there's any tickets left by then. But yeah, I'll probably be able to sort it one way or another anyways. So I'm not.
Yeah, 73. My first
Shout
game
out,
was
Peter.
around 10.
A lot of respect for that.
Out, Peter. Wow,
Shout out
man.
to that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That would be the Birdhead 1960s teams. Man, that's awesome.
38 years from
I love that. Michael been brilliant. I love that. Optimistic. I love that.
I just love that we have people that are tuning in and watching us on a consistent basis. That is awesome. To the club.
That is awesome. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
amazing. It is. But that's the biggest thing about Palace is like it's not just about the glory; it's about the journey as well.
Exactly. You got it.
You got to Palace for the glory. Trust me, they don't follow Palace for the glory.
Exactly. If you follow Palace for the glory, then you're going to be disappointed.
100%. It's not about the glory.
That's literally what I get from every single American when they find out.
You're a true fan. You're a true supporter.
Yeah, I can't lie to you. I don't know. It's,
like I have families that come in.
There's other people as well in the chat.
I have families that come in, they see my flag and stuff, and they're like, "You support Crystal Palace?" I'm like, yeah. And it's like, "Oh, I'm a Chelsea fan. I like Liverpool and I like Man United." And I'm like, "Yeah, you like all those big box clubs? Okay, cool." But at the same time, that's who they get exposed to a lot of times being over here. You know what I'm saying? Those are the main ones.
Football's changed a lot. I'm not saying that Palace doesn't fall into this category, but the one thing about Palace is that you still got sense that as a community club, it's not just an outright business. I don't know how to describe
it. That's what endeared me to follow. That's why I became a fan. That's why
you have a connection with the football club, for example. You do have a connection. So that's the biggest thing about Palace. Whereas with Chelsea or United, especially if that's not your local team, you're just a consumer.
Mary says my dad is 91. He took me first 58 years ago. He loves Palace. I'd love us to win a cup in his lifetime.
Yeah, your dad deserves it, Mary. I hope it happens. Your dad deserves it. Trust me. My dad passed away a few years ago, and he missed out on. He's the one I'm a Palace fan. I was born in Thornheath, but yeah, my dad made me a Palace fan. So no, your dad deserves it. My dad's gonna miss out on it, but hopefully he'll be looking down on it when it happens soon. So yep.
Hopefully.
What we need to remember is that there may come a time when we are back to financial instability and battling relegation to League One and in danger of becoming AFC Crystal Palace. Enjoy these times.
I hear that.
Yeah, crazy things happen, but I think right now we're trying to avoid that by all means. And that's the one thing, regardless of what you think about C. Parish, I've been critical of him as well. Not because I hate him or anything like that. But it's like sometimes I feel like we could do more as a football club. Maybe like we're like 1 or 2 players short.
And that's fair.
That's the one area that I'm never worried about us being financially unstable and going into administration, because that's the one thing that he's always made sure, based on our past, that we won't get into. So yeah, that's none of my concern right now. But maybe once he leaves, then we can worry about that. But yeah,
put that back. Sorry, put Keith's
one.
Yeah, because my brother was a ball boy in 71, 72, and I remember in the White Horse Lane being behind and slapping the horse. That's when my biggest memory is that, the standing, the peanuts. So yes, Keith, that's my biggest memory, slapping it when Glad all over became big. That was my thing, man, slapping the hoardings, man. Glad all over them. Yeah,
1990 after Liverpool semi, we told to keep our ticket stub to get to a final ticket that Knowles changed it, which meant I had to buy a season ticket for next season to get a ticket for a cup.
Good old Ron notes. Good old Ron notes.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's changed a lot. Let's go through some questions which people have sent through. If you have any questions, send them through as well, and we'll pin them and we'll answer them as we're reaching towards the end of the show. If you're just joining us now, at the start of the show, we spoke about Oliver Glasner, as well as some transfer news based on an article from Ed Aarons and Fabrizio Romano. So after we wrap up, you can go to the start of the show and catch up like that. Now let's go through the questions. The dog saying, do you think we are underestimating how hard it will be to find consistency each year, as our top players are always likely to leave each season with all interest? JP, Munoz, Gehi. I don't think they're likely to leave. Munoz, by the way, I don't think there's that much interest. And JP, interest isn't as significant. But his point is, do you think we will struggle to reach top levels if we do sell our top players? I'll give this one to you, Patrick.
No, not under Oliver Glasner, because he showed it will take time because his system is very unique. The 3-4-2-1 takes time. Got to find the right player for that system. But he showed this year. Look what he did this year. I mean, stop putting Sarr in as a right number 10. No one thought he could do that. Having Hughes instead of Wharton in the midfield. Being able to play with Chalobah, Gahey, and Aqua, and then moving in and having Richards come in and having it be seamless. No, I think under this manager we'll be fine. We cannot sell. The dog is right. You don't want to sell more than one or two, or one, honestly, each season. But I think under Glasner we'll be just fine because the system works. If you play it right, he can tweak it to make it work. And he's made a lot of players better. A lot. Hughes, Mateta. I can go on and on and on and on. The players he's made better. So no, I'm not worried about that.
I mean, I think it's hard every single year. Let's be honest. It's the toughest league in the world, so it's going to be hard every single year. Let's keep that quite honest. But I think it's a difference between struggling and doing something and doing something that's hard and working hard every year. I think it's going to be hard for us every year to make sure that we're doing things the right way and producing out on the pitch, and of course avoiding things like injuries, something that we can't control at all. Those things are going to be hard, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a struggle every time either.
Yeah. Well, a lot of clubs are trying to do what we're doing, so it's just about the best scouting network, and it's just a game. It's a long game. It's not just about spending money. I will answer this one. Ron saying, how long do you think this contract will be? According to Ed Aarons, will be 2-year extension. So let's see.
Now, is that 2 years? Is that 2 years? Including the extension year that we have for him, or do you think we guarantee that extension year plus one more?
I think it's just 2 years. It's nothing to do with extension. So 2 extra years on his contract, which runs out. So 2 guaranteed years in that aspect. Ron also saying surely one of the conditions is to have a war chest for the summer. I think I don't know about war chest, but I think there will be some kind of, not guarantees, but discussions about how to progress as a football club. Oliver Glasner doesn't want to stay at Palace to stay 12 or 13. He wants to stay at Palace to make sure it takes us to the next level. So I think when they have a sit down and talk about the extension, they will talk about the summer window. And that's what Fabrizio Romano said anyways. It's not just about contract. They're going to sit down and talk. And I think it's already underway. That's the report. So I think they're talking about summer business already. And that's going to include not just Steve Parish, but Doug Friedman as well. All three of them will be talking. And I think there will be some kind of, I don't know about guarantees, but we will spend money. We'll have to spend money. I think everyone knows that for us to progress as a football club. If you don't, if you just stay stable in the Premier League and you don't reinvest, then you just naturally drop off. That's the case. I think all the top managers have said that and proven that as well. So I think we will be doing that. And we're saying, are the Glasner out fans happy or have they done a 180? I don't know who's a Glasner out fan, but I'm pretty sure
you're a Glasner out fan. You are miserable.
Yeah. Maybe Twisted is the only one because we haven't won the Premier League. Lewis is saying, is Glasner the type to stick around for a while or move in after a few years? Obviously, he fell out with Frankfurt's owners as to why he's not there. I think the way that Glasner leaves is, of course, if he falls out with the owners and also if a big club comes from, which we can't really control. But I think he's not like a manager who wants to leave. I don't get that kind of vibes. As long as there's a stable platform for him and the club to grow in, then I think he'll be happy with that. Well, that's for a lot of managers, to be fair. And it's not easy to do.
Real quick, not towards anybody in general. Let's be honest, man. Anybody in life, if they ever need to do something better and move, they're gonna move on. It happens in life in any job you have. When I was a teacher, I moved on because I wanted to become a job as an assistant principal. I wanted to move on. Any job you do, you're gonna want to move on. So I don't think it's only Glass. It's any sportsman, any business person, anybody in life. If something comes along that's better for you, you'd be foolish not to move on. And that's what happened with Glasner. When something better comes along, he's going to move on. If you don't think anything's better for him, he'll stay here. But again, let's not be silly. He's not staying here for 20, 30 years. He's going to be here for 5, 6 years. And hopefully by the time he leaves, we'll be better off by 10-fold, 100-fold than when he first came here. And we're already on that road for me, so I'm good.
Yeah, and that's a part of it. You just want to leave it better than you found it.
Yeah. If we're in a better position, we can attract better managers, better players. That's how you grow as a football club. So we just have to make sure we get the best out of him because he can be the manager that could take us to the next step and hopefully at the next step, if he was to leave, then we can recruit better and find better and stay at that stage. So that's the biggest thing about
100%.
Glasner right now. If no one big comes in for Mark and we don't sell him this summer, should he be relieved of his captaincy as he'll be running down his contract? Should the club captain be held to a higher standard? I think someone will be coming in for him. But if he doesn't, in this scenario, do you think we'll remove him as a captain, considering that he'll be leaving for free? Which I just don't see that happening. I think Palace will someone will pay up for Mark. Like he will have to leave. We'll have to, of course, we might not have the power that we did if he had a longer deal, but he will leave for some type of price tag. He's an England international. But if he's in this scenario, what do you lot do?
I don't relieve him. I think he's a great captain, and you only relieve him if he doesn't do his duties up to what we hope he's going to be. But I mean, there are definitely others that can step up. People talking about Hughes, Lacroix, etc. But I wouldn't relieve him. I mean, unless he says something or does something that's really negative. He's a great captain. He's more of a quiet leader, but he's been a great leader for us and a great captain for us. I don't relieve him of his duties just because his contract's running down. That's what I mean. Wilf was our captain, wasn't he? And he ran those contracts.
And I wouldn't do it just simply because, in my thought of how contracts work and how contractual agreements work, when you fulfill a contract, you did what you signed on to do. You completed the terms of the contract that was agreed between you and the club. Therefore, at the end of it, if we were to come to that situation where we couldn't find anything for him and he ended up running down his contract, which I hope doesn't happen, he fulfilled his contractual agreement to the club. And I can't fault him for that. And I wouldn't want to take that from him just because of that.
Yeah, but I think he will leave anyways. I don't think we'll end up in that situation. If you had to sell someone out of Mark, Eze, Mateta, or Walton, who would you pick?
Is this for this coming year, this coming summer?
Yeah, probably Mark because of the contract
situation. With the contract situation, it would have to be Mark for me.
It'll be Eze, right?
Yeah, if he sells the new contract, Eze would go for me out of those four. I'm sorry, I love Eze, but I'm keeping Mark as a leader, captain, Mateta obviously, and Wharton. No, I'd tell Eze.
So to say, Pat, you'd be cool with us selling Eze and then Mark running down his contract
for another year? Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. If it was next year,
I just want to make sure I understood.
I mean, I haven't signed a new contract, but if it was to say just run it down, I mean, we're not gonna do that. Obviously, Steve's right, we're not gonna do it. But if you're gonna say me, you have an option between keeping Mark for a year or Eze, I would definitely sell Eze and keep Mark, even if he goes on a free, which again is unlikely. I would rather have Mark for that year than Eze because I like França. I have no problem with Kamada. You've got Sark can maybe go to the other side. I mean, there were options for Eze. There aren't as many options for Mark. The option is for Mark to buy someone, and I don't, that's difficult. But it's a great question.
Yeah. If there was no contract situation, then maybe Eze. But with the contract situation, you have to be Mark. You have to be Mark in this instance. Is there any other questions before we wrap up, Patrick? You highlight that one.
I just saw a crazy goal. Millwall versus Leeds. Leeds just scored the goalie just made a really bad mistake. I must put my head on it. Oh, that's one of the highlight. The one that Mary's such a nice person. Can you put it up? Yeah. I want to just say, I worked, Mary, as a teacher for 25 years in New York City, and I retired 5 years ago. Best decision I ever made, but being a teacher was awesome. I loved it, but it was time for me to move on. So, but only wise people are teachers, by the way. So, Mary, you must be a very wise person. Very wise.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's it for questions. I think that's it for Glasner and transfer news. If you have enjoyed it, drop a like before we wrap up. And before you leave tomorrow at 3 p.m, we'll be live for the watch along. So that should be exciting because I don't know who on earth is going to be playing for Palace, but we'll be here discussing.
We'll be there.
We'll be there regardless. But until then, up the Palace. Keep safe, people. And until next time, I already said it, but up the Palace.